Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey and welcome to another top 10 video. So we're going to be doing another top 10 video today, which is maybe a little bit opinionated and varies wildly depending on what kind of person you are, but I tried to figure out 10 quests that I absolutely hate, and also some of these quests I don't necessarily hate, but they are known as being very awful quests among the Runescape community, and we're going to be figuring out what the 10 worst quests in RS. Again, these can change depending on your personal opinion and your personal experiences with these quests. A couple of these I really don't mind doing myself, but a lot of people hate them. So we're going to get into the top 10 quests. We know there's going to be a couple there. Mornings in part 2, for example. Everyone knows that will be there. But what else is just an awful quest, and one that you're going to have to do to get the quest cape, and one that you're really not going to enjoy doing at all? Well, let's find out in the top 10 worst quest. Number 10 on this list is Sheep Herder. Some people have had a completely awful time with this quest, but I really couldn't put it any higher than 10 just because it is a novice quest. It barely has any requirements and it's not really very long. Although that does depend on how the sheeps cooperate with you, because sometimes these sheeps do not want to cooperate with you at all. What you have to do for this quest is you have to go to Artie, and there are some sheeps that have the plague or something like that, and you want to prod them into this little fenced-in area. And the sheeps sometimes have a mind of their own and do not want to go the direction that you want them to go, but it doesn't take very long as you have a general idea of what you're doing. Still is extremely annoying though. Number 9 on this list is Rat Catchers. This quest isn't necessarily known as being one of the worst quests in the game, but it is kind of long. It does have a lot of annoying parts to it, and if you try to do this quest with a kitten, you will rage quit. There is no way you are finishing this with a kitten unless you have a will of iron and patience better than the most patient person on the entire earth, because this quest is near impossible to do with a kitten because you have to hunt rats, and as we all know, rats and kittens do not get along very well. The rat usually comes out on top. You have to catch rats in various places in RS and go to a whole bunch of different rat pets. Unfortunately, you do have to do this quest for the Varrock task, so if you're going for that, you kind of have to get this one done. You're not going to like it unless you're really into cat hunting, which I don't think anyone is into. Number 8 on this list is Garden of Tranquility. Let me explain the reason why I detest Garden of Tranquility, and this is always one of the quests that I least look forward to when starting a new account. You have to plant stuff, and then you have to wait. You have to wait for a really long time after you plant all of these seeds, and this is also one of those quests where you have to go all around RuneScape talking to a whole bunch of different people and doing various things for them in order for them to give you seeds, so you can plant these seeds and then wait like hours for your tree to grow. Any quest that requires you to do the quest, stop, take a break, wait a couple hours, and then come back and finish the quest is just horrible in my opinion, and that's why I cannot stand this one. The next quest on this list I might be slightly biased against because, again, this is one of my least favorite quests in the game, but everyone is going to have quests that they hate, and everyone is going to have quests that they like. This is a hateable quest, and the reason for this is there are several puzzles during as a first resort. All of the puzzles are annoying and hard to figure out, and also this quest is long. Usually when quests are described in guides as being long, they don't always take me half as much time as they usually say they should take me, but this one took the full 60 minutes that it said it was going to take, mostly just doing puzzles and talking to various ogres. Not fun, not enjoyable whatsoever, but it is worth it because it grants you access to Uglog Bank and also the Potion Flask Rock, so you gotta do this one. It's not going to be fun though. Next on the list is One Small Favor. We all know this quest. Most of us hated it. This is actually probably my favorite quest on this list, and that's not saying much because they're all pretty bad. I personally really don't mind this one though. The main reason why it's only number 6 is because it's not the longest quest in the world if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, you haven't done this one before, you haven't had the ability to do it on several accounts like I have and get experience and do it quickly, this is going to take you a while. There's a lot of running around RS, there's a lot of talking to people, there's a lot of doing dumb tasks for people so that they give you the items that you want. A lot of people hate that. This is also probably the second most famous bad quest on RS behind Morning's End Part 2, which is coming. Don't worry, that one's coming. This one can take people several hours though, and I can completely understand why they hated it. It's a lot of running around, and not everyone enjoys traveling around RS. Next on the list is Underground Pass. This is probably the first out of the really awful quests that most people experience during RS, and if you've ever done this quest with a lower agility level, you will know why. You will fail on these log bridges a lot, and these things are the bane of your existence unless you do this quest with at least 40 agility. I myself did this one fairly recently, tried it with 26 agility, That was not a go. Did not work at all. Had to actually teleport out and come back because it was just taking too long. So if you are planning on doing Underground Pass, a simple, handy tip that can really save you a lot of rage and possibly a broken monitor is just wait until you have a slightly decent agility level before doing this one, and then it's not so bad. Number 4 on this list is Do No Evil. Do No Evil is without a doubt one of the longest quests in game, and it is pretty rewarding once you actually do it. Gives a healthy amount of XP as well as unlocks stuff in the Dominion Tower, which is nice for people going for completion escape and stuff like that, and you get to start a cool little monkey village. Doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, this quest includes 2 puzzles which are very, very long and quite difficult. One of these 2 puzzles is very RNG based. Without wanting to spoil too much, it includes you running around the desert for a very long time trying to do something that is very RNG based, whether that's actually going to succeed or not. However, if you do get it, it's not that bad of a quest, but the first banana puzzle, again, not wanting to spoil too much, there is a puzzle related to bananas. You could probably figure that out considering it is a monkey related quest. Kind of makes sense. That one is annoying too. Is mostly on this list because the puzzles can be completely awful depending on how you do them and just how freaking long the quest is. So we're up to the top 3 now. These quests have to be some of the worst in the game, right? Well, not off to a great start with Darkness of Halibel. The problem with this quest is you have to traverse the city of Meyerditch a couple times, and it sounds kind of cool, the concept of it, running around a city, jumping through windows, going through doors, trying to find your way, but it's not cool because everything is the same color. It's really hard to navigate around because the whole thing just looks the same. Oh, and there's vampires that come out of the sky and bite you and deal damage to you, and there's also parts of the quest where you actually want vampires to bite you, and in my experience, usually when you want them to bite you, they typically have no interest. Unfortunately, this quest is a part of a major quest line in the game, which is the vampire quest line, and the quests that come after this are actually kind of cool, but you have to go through this one. At least it gives agility XP at the end that somewhat makes up for how awful this quest and what it puts you through. Number 2 on this list is none other than Morning's End Part 2, probably the most famous quest in all of RS, but not the worst, at least in my opinion, for being an awful quest. I personally don't have that much of a problem with this quest. I've done it twice, about to do it a 3rd time. We'll see how that one goes, but I never found the light puzzle all that difficult to traverse, but you cannot do a top 10 list of bad quests in RS, or even any sort of list of bad quests in RS, without giving this one a pretty high ranking. This quest killed people on day of release when there was no guides, and is notorious for being one of the worst days in all of RuneScape when this came out. And again, unfortunately, this quest does unlock a lot of stuff. You have to do this one to get to Elf City, and if you're doing it for your first time, it's gonna take you a while. There's a humongous light puzzle which takes a very long time, even if you're following a guide and even if you've done it before. How exactly could a quest get much worse than spending a couple hours running around a dungeon filled with aggressive shadows trying to kill you doing a gigantic light puzzle that does not make much sense? How about spending those hours and possibly even more time in a brown, boring dungeon in one solitary room doing one puzzle where all you do is run back and forth and pull on various levers that really make no sense whatsoever unless you are a much smarter man than I and clearly understand puzzles. This quest is Elemental Workshop Part 3. Without a doubt my number 1 choice for worst quest in the game. Many people share that opinion with me. Some people consider Morning's End Part 2 harder. Personally, with my experience, this one takes a lot longer than Morning's End Part 2, but depends how good you are at following guides, that sort of stuff. This quest, this is it. This room, this is 90% of the quest, what you're going to be doing, just running back and forth, pulling levers. Puzzle never made any sense to me. I was never able to make heads or tails for it. Major props to whoever figured out how to do this quest. So that's it. That's about all for the top 10 worst quests in all of RS. Again, this is kind of an opinionated list. Some people are going to hate some quests a lot more than others. For example, Monkey Madness didn't even make the list. You might be wondering why. It was on the short list. It was about number 11 or 12. However, I just felt like some quests in the game are really quite bad. And again, there's a lot of people out there who might hate Monkey Madness, but you also might not have done all of these quests and might not have experienced the true pain that some of these quests can cause you. Again, I tried to not make it entirely opinionated. If I had, Tale of the Muzzpaw would have probably been like number 5 or 6 because I hate that quest, but it is a novice quest and most people probably don't mind it that much. Anyway, that is what the comment section is for, debate like that, and make sure to leave down in the comment section as well your suggestion for the next top 10 video, and I will probably make it based on one of your guys' suggestions, so you might want to do that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you with tomorrow's video, and farewell.